close deals and build relationships with velocity. It's the way that we make the other person feel. So a lot of people go in and they shake hands and they think, oh, that person was too hard, or gee, that was a soft shake. So they're thinking about the other person, but what have you left that person with? How are they feeling about you? And in actual fact, you can meet someone at the same level of degree and come out with a great handshake. So if yours is always really firm and crushing to everybody, it'll only suit the person that also has a really firm handshake. So in a nanosecond, you can actually change the level and degree of your firmness to meet that other person, to create a win-win situation.
All right, so you've literally got to change how you express yourself, I guess, in your handshake and kind of make that judgment call in the moment of shaking someone's hand.
As you actually meet them. So I'd like to show you something. So if I come in really firm, what do you think about me right now?
Oh, I guess it gives me that whole thing of, dominance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I actually came in and met you exactly where you are now, what do you think of me?
Yeah, same.
Same.
Even
Yeah.
platform, I suppose. Yeah. Look, I have to say I'm not a fan of the crushing handshake. It just seems like it's trying to, dominate and under my thumb kind of thing. But nor am I a fan of the very soft, what I call the wet handshake. It's almost like, ew, don't touch me. I'll give you a little tiny touch of my hand, which has me feeling like I don't want to touch you anyway because you're so not invested in this handshake. But people have varying, I guess, degrees of comfort with even touching other people. So what about people who don't like to be touched by strangers? I mean, you're talking about often in business meetings, you're going to meet people, they're strangers to you. What if you have an aversion to touch? And some people do. So, that may be, I guess is what I'm saying, the reason behind why they don't want to give a firm handshake. They want to make their touch as brief as possible and withdraw.
So the book also is not just about the handshake. It goes about our body language and how to become more confident so that you are more confident when you do meet and greet in your handshake. It also goes into our mindset and starting to be mindful and not keep thinking about yourself all the time. Oh, I don't like meeting people. I don't like shaking hands. I don't like this. It's not about you. Think about the people that you're meeting. And if you want to grow your business, then it's time that you started to get a little bit uncomfortable and build your confidence.
Is it always about doing business, though, the handshake? Is this the only kind of the major time we tend to do that within our culture?
Within the Australian culture, generally we don't just walk up to people and shake hands and say hi. Some people do because they're quite confident, but generally it is in more of a business context, whereas some countries, everywhere you go, they'll shake hands with you.
Why the 7 seconds format that you've kind of said, it starts with these first crucial 7 seconds to get your message across in your handshake. Why 7 seconds?
Well, research showed us that in the year 2000 we were holding a thought for around 12 seconds, but it's now showing that we're holding thoughts for around 7 seconds, 7 to 8 seconds due to our smartphones. So, if we're only going to hold someone's attention for that amount of time, we want to make it pretty good.
Sure. How much information you talked about the when your webs touch in a handshake? It still sort of makes us sound like some alien kind of creature when we talk like that. But how much information is conveyed in that beyond what we were talking about there? That oh, you're a dominant personality, or maybe you're meeting me on my own level. What else is conveyed?
When we actually touch our webs, human beings are made to connect, and it just connects so much better the first time, every time, once we make that connection. And of course, the eyes are just as important as the handshake, making sure that we, connect through the eyes, through our facial features, and of course, the smile is always very welcoming.
Yeah, that you're right about the eyes. Some people just can't go there, can they? They can't look you in the eye. And for me, that's a really big thing. It's a message I've given my kids. When you greet someone, look them in the eye. You don't need to have a big, long conversation with them. It's a like, yeah, I'm acknowledging you. It's a sign of respect. You're here. You're in the room, g'day, that's all you need to do. You don't need to be engaged in a big, long conversation with somebody necessarily, but it's a sign of respect to just acknowledge another human being.
It is. You know, we created the Conscious Connection Framework last year that won awards in Asia Pacific, and it's just bringing this consciousness to that, you know, first 7 seconds to your meet and greet and what you're transferring.
So the $1 Million Handshake is just about to be released, is that right?
Correct. It's today, the
Today.
29th.
Woo.
Today. Woohoo.
How long has it been in development for?
It started around 4 years ago, and I ended up starting to write the book and turned it into 4 workshops, mastering communication and difficult conversations, first impressions, lasting results, body language boot camps, and the right mindset for success. So we've been running those around the Sunshine Coast, Australia, and internationally. And it was just time to bring it all back together for the book.
Does it surprise you that people need to kind of be taught this stuff almost?
It's really interesting. As human beings, everything changes. Technology, the food that we eat, everything constantly changes. But human behaviour, when you take away body language and our verbal communication, because worldwide that's different, but our raw behaviour styles are the same. So when we connect and communicate, we're transferring, whether we're quiet or shy or dominant or overexcited, we transfer this quite quickly.
It's been really interesting learning a little bit more about the best kind of handshake to be giving, and I guess the message that you're saying is really meet the other person on their level. Don't be one way or the other. It's not about you.
It's not about us.
Catherine Malloy, wishing you the best of luck with your new book, The $1 Million Handshake. Thanks so much for joining us here on ABC Sunshine Coast.
Thank you for having me.
Catherine Malloy, have you learned a little bit about the handshake there? How's yours?